We could have high-speed rail, like maglev. We should have space cables. I should be able to take an elevator to outer space right now. We should have a Roomba that's sweeping up all the satellite debris in low Earth orbit right now. We should have a frickin' space Roomba, dude. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
This is maddening. Woo! Welcome to Sat Chat's Rehash, the Bitcoin podcast where we chatting about sats. In this case, chatting about stats, because we already did this episode, but we lost it. So we're gonna jump back into number 68, Kayla, number 69, Susie, number 70, Ocean.
Yeah.
I'll be your host, Stuart, Bitcoin Maxi, who wears prescription sunglasses to protect you and your loved ones from my Bitcoin laser eye.
And I'm your co-host, Chris, founder and CEO of Ithaca Hummus, resident Bitcoin smash buyer when my wife lets me. We are giving away 10 million sats, I think.
10 million sats,
10 million
man.
sats?
I wish the world could know how much that is.
Well, I mean, if they listen to Sat Chats, they would know.
Yeah.
That it's like $10,000
Right now.
right now. 10 million sats. All you have to do is subscribe to Sat Chats on YouTube, and that's it. You're automatically entered. There's almost 99,000.
Let's give ourselves some credit. We're at 1160.
Okay.
So there's 98,840 slots left. And that's not very many slots.
Not many.
Think about 10 million sats, the value of it in 4 years, 8 years, 12 years.
Gosh.
When you pass it on to your kids, your grandkids.
We should have made these giveaways in dollars, because if we did that, they'd be getting cheaper for us as time went on.
Oh, right.
But we did the Sat Chats thing.
We're doing the right thing.
And we said, you know what? No, let's demonstrate with these giveaways that, you know, it might take us, I think it's going to take us 2 years to get to 100,000 subscribers. Stuart, I believe you said 4.
I think 4 is reasonable, but I think with the right support and the right like social media coverage and the right education about what we're really giving away, we could get there by this time next year.
Well, if I gave you a sheet of paper and it said, how many years do you think it will take for us to get to 100,000 subscribers? And there was a little box next to it for a number.
Yeah.
There wouldn't be room for all that.
Well, I would say 1-4.
1 to 4.
Yeah. I like runways. I don't like specific points. I like runways. Like nobody lands an airplane like this. You know what I mean? You land like this, and then you test it. You're like, and then you touch down, pop. You know. So when I talk about like coming to a place, I'm like, hey, we'll be there between 8 and 8:30, and that way there's not like a time stress where somebody's like, they're supposed to be here by 8. You know, like if I show up at 8:11, they're happy. 8:15, it's all good. You know. So I like runways. So I would say best. Oh, here we go. Bull case, 1 year.
I don't buy it.
Base case is your 2 year, and then your bear case is 4 years.
Look, if
base case, wait, bull case, base case, bear case is a thing in Bitcoin. You can't hate on me for that.
Okay. If this episode was not about episodes 68, 69, and 70, or guess 68, 60, I'd start punching holes all through that logic. But it's not about that.
Okay. But real quick, why are you so fixed on picking a specific number?
Because that becomes the goal, and my runway is between now and then.
Oh.
I got a runway. I got a runway.
Oh, you got the runway.
I'm gonna be there at 8, and my runway is my runway, not mine and everybody else's runway.
Right. But who got here last today?
Irrelevant.
But we said 8. You said you could be here at 8. So. Well, yeah, you said see you at 8. So I'm just saying it might have been better if you'd be like, okay, I'll be there between 8 and 8:15.
I think I said see you at 8 ? See you at 8.
It was definitely an exclamation point. Yeah. But the thing is when you wear it a little bit more loosely, then you know some of that stress and cholesterol comes off.
I see your point.
But I think us being this way is good. This is how we This is, it's kind of like you come out and I bring back, or come back and then,
I was on a phone call very early this morning, and I was mostly listening, but I did have an opportunity to talk for maybe 1 or 2 minutes of this 45-minute call.
Excellent.
And I shared how, recently I've been trying to share my feelings and talk about how I feel, talk about what I'm thinking, talk about what's going on in my head.
Yeah.
Because if I don't do that, like years could go by and I could look back and I could be so far off course.
Yes.
Because I'm not checking my work, basically, like with someone else who's like, wow, the way you just said that is actually not how I think about it. Here's how I think about it. And the way I say things is because that's the way I think about them. Anyway.
That's wild.
Yeah. I don't know. Take that little vague, mysterious comment out of left field that I just made for what you will. But
Dad loves all that because he knows what we're talking about, and he thinks that everybody like us knows what we're saying because we're all using the same words. And it's like a little undercurrent where if you know, you know.
It's like the hidden menu at In-N-Out Burger.
Ooh.
Yeah, you get it animal style up in here if you want.
So put in the comments, because I know a couple of you Satillionaires are now faithfully ripping on these rehashes. Richard is in the comments, OG Furious is in the comments, and Senor Gringo is in the comments. You three and anyone else who cares to comment, let us know how long you think it's going to take us to hit that 5 nines plus 1 subscription level. Okay. And whether you like my runway approach or Chris's point in time approach. So let's jump into these episodes. And it's worth reminding our Satillionaires that part of the purpose of the rehash is for us to clean up our side of the street. Okay. There's another little hidden menu moment for you. But it's also so that you guys can hang out with us and just vibe, which I love. But it's also so that you don't necessarily need to listen to all 3 episodes, which are 45 to 54 minutes long, if you don't think you're going to be interested in them. So by talking about them here, you can kind of get a sampling of and say, you know what, I do want to kind of double click or expand the view on one of these episodes.
These are like previews smashed together in groups of 3. Not because I think you're going to be interested in all of our content, quite frankly, but just so that you can prioritize what you want to listen to.
Yeah, I feel like whenever somebody creates a large body of work, it becomes incumbent upon them to guide their users through.
Yeah.
So when you think about Marvel's cinematic universe, somebody who wants to get into that world of Captain America and Iron Man, it's like, okay, well, where do I start?
Well, I want to start taking our little Sat Chats, dude.
Yeah.
And changing the color of the moon. From green for beginner episodes.
Ooh, dang.
We'll keep it yellow for intermediate.
Skibbity what?
And then we'll go red, like Mars.
Oh, wow. That's amazing.
Like a nice Mars red. And the green doesn't have to be like a stoplight green.
Yeah.
It could be like a Pluto green.
It's interesting because that's almost like you could also, first of all, I think that's great. That's some genius logo mode right there. You're also making me think of like the moon is closer and then Mars is further away. So Mars is more difficult to reach than the moon.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah. So do you choose? I know that the green, yellow, red makes sense from a stoplight perspective. And you also talked about ski slopes. You could do green, blue, black. That works as well. But could you do like closest celestial body, next closest celestial body, furthest out celestial body? And what are the colors? Is it white for the moon, red for the Mars is in the middle, and then a third color is like, does Jupiter come next?
I don't know. But my favorite planet is Neptune.
Really?
Yeah.
And it's kind of like a icy blue, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think Neptune, fun fact, is light enough to float in a glass of water.
Is that right?
I think it's either Neptune or Uranus, but one of those is
made out of styrofoam.
It's like Well, Jupiter is a gas giant, but Neptune and Uranus are ice giants, which is different. Similar, but it's like my dad says, the same, but different.
Yeah.
So like one of them is light enough to float if you had a glass of water big enough, it would float like an ice cube.
Huh.
It's not an ice cube itself, but its core is ice and then it's surrounded by gas and it would float.
Mm-hmm.
So anyways, I love that idea. I think that our YouTube storefront should be rich with opportunities for people to quickly find what they want to do.
Yes, and you do that, in my experience, with visual cues.
Yeah.
And if you can tie those visual cues to something that they already understand in their life somewhere else, like a stoplight, that's great. You don't have to do it that way, though.
Right.
Like ski slopes, it doesn't take very long on the mountain to realize I want to stick to the blues.
Yeah, and my perspective too is I love fantasy and science fiction. So I want to dislocate you just a tiny bit into a new world, teach you about it, and now you're comfortable and feel like you belong.
I love that. It's a little bit, we're getting real.
This is good.
Yeah. I mean, it's a little bit let's see. It's a heavier lift slightly at the beginning.
Yep.
But once they're in, they like it more.
Yeah, it's like in Harry Potter, they have galleons, sickles, and nuts for their money.
Right.
And you're trying to be like, well, how many sickles is in a galleon? And it's fun to just explore a different world.
I think it's one of the reasons why Bitcoin, once you're into Bitcoin, like, I hate to say it, but like there's confirmation bias at work because you have invested so much time learning about, indoctrinating yourself, reading about, listening to Bitcoin stuff.
Yeah.
And you get to a point where you're like, I like this. And I've also invested like 100 hours. So it's got to be right. So that bias starts to kick in. And my point is, if you have to work a little bit harder to get inside of something, once you're there, you want to be there more.
I understand. I love that.
Yeah.
Wow, that's freaking amazing. Let's chat about Kayla here, number 68. How can spouses adopt Bitcoin together? I just loved that she and Reggie have trust and that Reggie has not apparently done anything to, work against himself in that relationship.
Reggie is a cherub. He's a sweet cherub man, boy. I mean, he just apparently has done nothing wrong ever to Kayla. And I know that's not true, but to hear Kayla talk about him, like, I just fully trust whatever he says.
Yeah.
It's just
not because she's in some kind of like docile 1950s woman role.
Not at all.
But because Reggie's proof of work is there.
Yes.
And he's businesslike and he's grown and he does what work needs doing. And like, he's a grown up and he's a man, Meanwhile, all you have to do is look at Chris's algorithm on the different platforms to know for a fact he's like 9 years old, dude. Ooh. The type of videos Chris watches and like fully guffaws at is like the same videos that are funny to like a 9-year-old. And I'm the same way, dude. I mean, we did not do what Reggie has done. Our proof of work is the wrong proof.
Yeah.
So I loved that element where they take risks together. And if they don't fully understand each other's risk desire, they still kind of say, all right, well, let's try it. They're not yeeting themselves into Bitcoin, but they took a risk together to start that Pearl Collective.
Yeah.
And it's working out. They took a risk together to have 111 million kids.
Yeah.
And,
Four. 4, but they also have like 28 chickens.
Yeah.
I mean, if you want some eggs, just call Reggie.
Oh, man, dude. And he homeschools his eggs as well so that they're more nutritious. I mean, it's amazing. You know what I mean?
So Reg and Kayla own the Pearl Collective. The Pearl Collective helping Sat Chats. They cut all of our shorts.
Mm-hmm.
They do a bunch of creative production work for us, and they're also filming our documentary.
And they sponsor this show, by kind of offering a Polaroid as a memento to all of our in-studio guests.
Which I don't think we've really brought this up, but it's fitting because Kayla was the first one, and this isn't Kayla right here, but Kayla brought the Polaroid into the studio for her episode.
Yeah.
And ever since, every single time that we have an in-person guest who comes into the studio, we take 2 Polaroids, one for us to keep, one for them to keep as a momentum, and a memento.
Well, it could be momentum to continue stacking sats, so I like that word too.
Ooh, thank you. And then we write the number of sats that they were given by Sat Chats on the bottom. Pretty nice.
And we're still looking for a name for that camera because the camera's a little cutie, and Kayla told us it was a girl. Senor Gringo offered like Senora Polaroidita or something totally degenerate. And we'll take more suggestions. Okay, I appreciate that suggestion. We'll take more if you got them. I can't wait until it's like 4 years from now and somebody's watching that episode and then they make a suggestion. Because like they're coming back way behind us, I can't wait for like later comments on earlier stuff. So the big thing we got to talk about with Kayla is that she destroyed us during the cash versus Bitcoin choice moment where she dragged it out. She got real dramatic about how, she's okay. Oh man, this should be an easy choice, but it's real hard for me. And then she chose the cash.
Temporarily.
She let us absolutely swing in the wind from a tree branch for like 2 seconds. That felt like 2 years.
Yeah.
And then she doubled back, was like, JK, I'm going to stack the sats.
Yeah.
Dude, I don't even have enough energy to truly express how traumatizing that was for me currently. Because living through it once was hard enough. Editing it was also difficult. Chatting about it the first time for our lost tape reel, that was hard. Bringing it up again is like, dude, it literally was exhausting what she did to us.
Yeah.
Exhausting. Because we were still hurting from number 66, Michael.
Yeah.
And 2 episodes later, we're going to lose again.
Ooh.
But yeah, you all, I would highly recommend that you pull up number 68, Kayla. The thumbnail says playing nasty pranks, and she has a huge laughter face going on. And I'm literally holding the cash and I'm holding my gut because my gut hurts after what she did to us. Just skip to the moment where she's making her choice. Y'all will love it.
Yes.
So who do we have up next here?
Well, are we going to do the chat?
Oh, cha-cha. Yeah. Scappy wappy. Let's see what all scaps.
Sometimes I help you. Sometimes, most of the time, you help me.
No. Well, Daddy Government is the executive producer of currently. So who's really helping who? All right. So Chappie says that the vibe was easy listening. It was a guest-centric chat with a genuine curiosity and useful analogies like the car versus the spaceship, but the pitch wanders and occasionally circles. This was the one where Chappie was like kind of real. I think that we are good to go in terms of like what we did and said though.
Okay.
So we're good there.
No fake news.
No, just some slight corrections from Chappie that are basically not even correct, because we're right.
All right, next we're working our way through the family tree here.
Oh yeah. And I remember when we taped this the first time, I was like, Michael, we got your mom.
Yeah.
We got your older sister. We're gonna get your oldest sister. We're gonna get your dad. Then we're going to go to your aunts, your uncles, your nieces, your nephews, your grandparents.
Mm-hmm.
So that by the time you show back up in 9 months, ain't nowhere to hide, boy.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
They're all going to be like, you didn't take the sats?
They're going to like, oh, ew. They're going to make Lucola, ew. I'll never forget when Lucola was like, ew. Like, he's just talking about like regular money. Ew. Oh, my God. So number 69, Susie, is number 66, Michael's mom.
Mm-hmm.
Number 56, Marissa's mom, right? So with number 56, Marissa, we talked about Bitcoin bringing back fine art.
Mm-hmm.
And with number 66, Michael, we asked the question, can smart people still miss Bitcoin?
Mm-hmm.
So with her, we actually focused more on the North Carolina political environment right now in 2025.
Mm-hmm.
Can you remember what she was talking about?
Well, I mean, she was excited that they were voting on a bill to allow the pension fund of state employees to purchase Bitcoin, which, I mean, I've used that I'm just as excited as she is, because that's like, for anybody who lives in North Carolina, it hits home, because you hear North Carolina, oh, my state, the state government is really considering this. Oh, for the pension funds of all state employees, of which I don't know how many state employees there are here in North Carolina, but I'm going to guess they're probably the biggest employer in the state.
Probably. I mean, every government almost has to be in order to continue to secure approval and votes.
So that's a lot of people that will become Bitcoiners, whether they know it or not, overnight if this happens.
Yes. I was originally thinking, okay, Kristen has the retirement account with the state. So I know, since I check on it, I record it, I add it into our, picture of net worth, it goes up in an artificially generous state sponsored way.
Oh, really?
Yes. It's not going to the moon, but it doesn't really ever go down either. It kind of chugs along at a steady percentage. And that's because the state is basically sponsoring it. You know what I mean? It's not necessarily like a 401k that's just tied to the stock market and kind of the state is kind of artificially locking it into a slight growth mode,
How?
I don't know.
Are you sure about that?
Well, I can tell you that the number is always going up by about the same amount each year, no matter what. Right? So you have to consider the fact that it's like the state is making sure it's okay.
It's probably because they're investing in things like bonds.
Maybe.
And treasuries that don't have a downside.
Yeah.
And just are like, we'll pay you some nominal like 3 or 4%.
Yeah, I think it might be even closer to like 7, which is good enough to be like, that's not bad.
Yeah.
And it just kind of, I believe it's basically guaranteed by the state one way or another.
Mm-hmm.
And I was originally thinking, well, this will be great because then you'll go from that kind of like artificially generous yearly increase to Bitcoin gains. And that would be elite. But now I'm also thinking, well, you're right. What if all state employees are then confronted with this idea of Bitcoin? And they go, well, what is Bitcoin? And then they, slap on our playlist. And a couple of episodes later, they're like, hey, I want some of my own Bitcoin. That could help increase adoption, which is pretty dope.
I mean, it's a huge endorsement.
Yeah.
Period. For anybody who's out there right now, like Bitcoin, I hear the word and it just doesn't connect with me. I associate it with negative things. I don't think it's for me, whatever. Like an endorsement from the state that you're living in will go a long way in rewriting some of those, beliefs that people may have.
Yeah, and plus I'm like, you know what, North Carolina, I've been here since 1995, except for a couple of years getting my career started in DC. Yes, you have effectively defunded all public schooling. Yes, you were basically convicted by the Supreme Court several years ago for gerrymandering so badly that you effectively denied us representation in federal government. But you're buying some Bitcoin. Hey, you know what? Water under the bridge, baby.
Yeah.
You guys might be absolutely grinding your services into dust while still taxing us for no good reason. But if you're buying Bitcoin, then we good. We good.
Yeah.
You know what?
Yeah.
If you just do one thing right sometimes.
Forgive, don't forget.
Sometimes you do one thing right and everything flows from it. That's all I'll say. So, great episode for you all if you want to learn a little bit about what North Carolina is doing. And we had a nice comment on the video too, where a guy from North Carolina was like, dope. Appreciate that episode. Okay, here's at our own trauma. He says, born and raised in NC, I think crypto/Bitcoin could be huge if they start to adopt it. We are already behind other countries that have started using it, and it's really helping these communities. So why would we not follow the same business structures if it's actually working? Shout out to Susie for going on the podcast. I love that. And I need to respond to that guy. I gave him a heart and a like, but I need to respond to that guy. So love that. Let's see what old Chap says. Chappie says, vibe/flow, warm multi-generation conversation, good blend of personal finance talk and civic curiosity. I wish I had civic pride, quite frankly.
Yeah.
I think about some of the Roman, shout out number 66, Michael, bro. Okay. Carthage must die. Get at me, bro. I think about like winding through the narrow streets of Rome into a larger thoroughfare, into a larger market street, and then finally a public forum that's grand and open, full of columns and forums and buildings that everyone can access, bathhouses, things like that. And it's like, dude, I would love to be part of a state that I'm happy about.
Yeah, proud of.
I don't necessarily look. I think there are other countries in the world that are doing things better than America. Like Finland is crushing the elementary school game, for example. And I have no idea why America can't just copy paste what Finland has figured out to be true and just boom, elementary school, right? I don't understand why we know so much. We could just literally take from other people what's working for them. But like we want to try to do it ourselves in certain areas and we're not doing it. So it's like, I don't think that any country is necessarily better than America. Okay. And I don't see myself I don't want to live in Nicaragua, but I get disappointed that America is not good enough. You know, it's almost like when people would tell me like, hey, Stuart, you have so much potential, man. Mm-hmm. And what they were telling me is you got to quit messing around, homie. You know,
that is not a compliment,
right? I look at America. I'm like, America, you got so much potential, man. Mm-hmm. You got so much potential. We could have high-speed rail, like maglev, dude. I could do maglev from Raleigh to Orlando and be taking a day trip to Walt Disney World. Boom. Hop on a train. But instead, America's like, yeah, well, it's better if oil companies make a bunch of money while we hold everybody back from making progress. You know what I mean? You could have maglev out to LA from here and just get out there so fast and not have to use any fuel of any sort. You could just use magnetism. We could be using magnetism, y'all. Come on. So I get upset when I feel like America is not where it should be. And that we could be doing so much better, dude. We could be having, we should have space cables. I should be able to take an elevator to outer space right now. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's absurd. This technology exists and it works. It's ridiculous. Anyway, we should have a Roomba that's sweeping up all the satellite debris in low Earth orbit right now. We should have a freaking space Roomba, dude. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
This is maddening. All right. So anyways, but I like that she had, I like that she had civic pride. Mm-hmm. I want what she has.
Yeah. Yeah.
But they're not doing enough for me yet.
Maybe you should run for office.
They're like, okay, so let's run an opposition file on him, and they do one search and go, oh yeah, he's screwed. Oh yeah. He torpedoed himself. Like we don't even have to hold this to the last hour. Yeah. He just doesn't work. Yeah. He's not a viable option. Yeah, now you know who would be an excellent candidate, excellent track record, no skeletons in the closet, absolutely charismatic, could crush. Has a track record of making an impact in their local community. It's Kristen. Yeah. She could run for like the school board or something like that. and then turn that into like, you know, Wake County commissioner. And then she could go up. She has what it takes. All right. So, I think we're really, I think we're okay on hers as well.
Okay.
So let's rip through Ocean rather quick, like if we can, since we're coming up against it. Ocean number 70 was Draco's lady.
Yeah, what I liked about Ocean, she and I connected on like branding, marketing, creative. You know, we speak the same language, and brand identity work is what she does as a consultant, among other things. But that's what I took from the conversation. And she talked about like, does Bitcoin have a messaging problem?
Yeah.
Like, have we distilled the message down into to the most important thing that matters to the widest addressable audience?
Yeah.
And made it so simple and so clear, you know, and the answer I think is no. And then you get into like, well, how do you do that? Because Bitcoin is so big, it's so multifaceted. There's so many different aspects of Bitcoin that it's hard for someone who has studied it or someone who knows a good amount about Bitcoin to pick a lane.
Yeah, like how do you start talking about it?
Yeah.
And what's the most important aspect to focus on?
Yeah.
And I would love to know if there's a universal key, because our strategy for, 70 plus episodes has been to dig down into what is important for that individual pre-coiner and then present that angle of Bitcoin.
Well, I mean, one way to look at what we're doing that I think could give us, we're in a unique position in the sense that we're talking to Bitcoin beginners about Bitcoin, and we're talking to Bitcoiners about Bitcoin beginners.
Oh, damn.
So we're doing, whether we realize it or whether we treat it this way or not, it's our choice to treat this as primary research.
Dadgummit.
I mean, do we want to get a little bit scientific about this? And research a specific hypothesis, a question that we have, a problem that we see, that through all the energy and all the work that we're doing here, we could, in a statistically relevant way, prove out different hypotheses that we have about Bitcoin.
All right, Anthony, studio refresh. We need beakers,
graduated
cylinders. we need
Bunsen burners, goggles. Immediately.
We need vials. We need glasses, containers, lab coats,
blue liquid, yellow liquid, red liquid. Okay, I want to be able to make any color I want.
Exactly, dude. We need the studio to turn into a chemistry lab.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Need some dry ice.
Dude, this show absolutely has a scientific tilt to it, right? But also for me, it is an arc for stories.
Yeah.
That we can carry into the future, so that someone 100 years from now can say, "Look, his story makes sense to me." You know what I mean? Like for me, it is a time capsule that we're creating to send into the future. And NPR did this one year where they had like a free service and you could basically record your story for them to capture. And so a lot of people like brought their parents in and said, "Tell me your story." And they were like, it's like a story collection moment, right? So you and I can, a braided cord is stronger than a single rope. Do you know what I mean?
Sort of.
Well, if you have one rope.
Well, I know what you mean by that, but
if you have a story thread, a scientific study, and an entertaining aspect,
okay,
I
see what you mean. Yes.
I think you are driving at, that here you are, you're back to like your point, right? You're like, I want us to be this, right? And for me, I'm like, well, we're actually stronger if we're multifarious. If if there's more than one way to get into the Welcome Center, you know, and there's like richness,
Yeah.
and you could go off to Tomorrowland, you could go off to Adventureland, you could go off to Fantasyland. Which way do you want to go? Or do you want all three? You know, like you can explore and all that. So I think we're naturally going to make some great content here.
Oh, no doubt. No doubt.
So Bitcoin, and she asked a great question, which is so to get back to what we were trying to say there, is there a universal key where you could start and get anyone interested, right? And her take, which I thought was an excellent take, was, what if your money isn't what you think it is? Dude, I think that's super powerful. That's such a powerful question to ask, right? What if your money isn't what you think it is?
What if you're broke by design?
I know.
Yeah.
I know. Part of me is wondering, like, how to that question should be in there somewhere. I don't know if it's like title and then subtitle is that, but because I also like how he's got millennials in there. I think that's like a way to hit. Anyways, let's wrap this little sucker up. Number 68, Kayla. Watch her stack her sats at the end of the show. It is absolutely gnarly and destroys us. Number 69, Susie. Great conversation about politics. Number 70, Ocean. Really nice angle on like Bitcoin's marketing and branding. And, you know, we should, as part of this show, conduct a scientific study around the best way to help people understand what they're actually looking at. Because right now it's Bitcoin is a scam. You know, Bitcoin is nerd money. Bitcoin is for smelly boys, you know? Mm-hmm. And recently it's like Bitcoin is for suit coiners. Bitcoin is for Wall Street bros. Like we're not at a point where Bitcoin is for teenagers. Bitcoin is for women.
I think we're getting there fast on the younger generation though.
Yeah.
I do.
Yeah.
I thought about it on the drive over here. No, actually I thought about it when we pulled up, and when I pulled up and I saw a lion, I was like, Bitcoin is the money that our kids are going to use. Mm-hmm. Bitcoin's the money of the next generation.
Yeah. So look, start buying $50 a month now. Okay. Make like Blockchain Wayne and get some money for your kids. So don't forget to smash the subscribe button for your chance at 10 million sats. Currently valued at $10,552, but who knows in 4, 8, 12 years. You got a 1 in 100,000 chance of winning, which is better than any lottery I've ever seen. So just do it. You can also smash our playlist and get those watch hours up. We'll unlock a membership area for you all to see raw episodes early. And we would encourage you to come on the show as well. satchats.com. Right now it's June. Mm-hmm. We're booked up solid in June. Mm-hmm. We're booked up solid in July.
Yeesh.
August is almost done.
Wow.
And then our initial guests start reappearing in September and October.
Dang.
So if you want to get
first push,
if you want to get in on this show, you better do it now.
Yeah.
Okay. You want to talk about a scarce resource? It's slots on our show. Huh. But just like Bitcoin, anybody can come get some.
Yeah.
Literally, y'all. Come on. All right. Let's see here. Sat Chat's Rehash is for educational purposes only and should not be construed as financial advice. We will see you tomorrow.